welcome to Chick Chat Live. My name is Cornelia and I have some beautiful guests in the studio with me today. And we're going to be talking about emotions. On the second segment of the show today, we don't have a hot topic for you guys because I have these ladies in the studio with me today. And we're going to be talking about womanhood, life, career, and forging your path to happiness. And I have Franny Asemota, who is CEO extraordinaire of The Mustard Seed. Welcome. And I have Nollywood and international actor Adesua Etomi. And of course, the GM of Chocolate City Music Group, Aibee Abidoye. All successful ladies, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Okie doke. So you guys know that we're delving into the deep end of emotions. And I'm going to start with, you know how people say, you can't find everything in one person. And I want to talk about emotions from the relationship aspect.
Okay.
I'm going to start with you, put you on the spot.
Okay.
And do you believe in the whole you can't find everything in one person when it comes to relationships? And do you think that's an excuse per se for a man's emotional withdrawal? Like when you go through, something deep like a miscarriage, health, and then men aren't really there for you in the way you feel they need to be there for you.
Okay. I do think that you won't find anyone that has everything that you need 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's meant to work that way. I think the purpose of relationships is when two people come together, one person magnifies your strengths, and if the other person is looking on another side, that person magnifies your strengths. I think it's a give and take. It's a give and take kind of relationship. I don't know that I don't have everything 100%. I think that's the essence of being in a relationship. You have to support each other. I don't know that there's any excuse per se to not be emotionally available for your partner. They are priority, or they should be your priority. And if you've chosen to be with someone, you care about their emotional state of mind and you care about how they feel. And I don't know that you should not be there if they're going through something. I don't know that there's ever an excuse for that. And if at some point you find yourself in a situation where you're not emotionally available and the person calls you out and like, I need you and not here, I expect the person to fix up and try to be there as much as they possibly can.
Okay, so there's a difference between emotionally unavailable and emotional withdrawal, because I feel like there's some times that, and I'm going to pass it over to you, Franny, there's some times where a guy will withdraw because he just doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
So if you deal with, like, sometimes, like, I've had friends who have gone through difficult pregnancies and they just felt like, the man doesn't know what to do. If you have maybe, for instance, a premature baby and, he just can't take that hospital environment. So he's there, but he's not there in the way that you need him to be. How can we educate and school men on how they can be there for us as women? Or is this an acceptance issue? Like you were saying, I think you were saying, like, we have to accept that you can't find everything. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with Adesua in that you can't, we're wired differently. You can't expect a man to understand what you're going through. Do you understand? Even if it's not something so tragic as, having a miscarriage or going through emotional trauma in a marriage, or in, you may have had a child and you're emotionally connected to the child and the man isn't, and you're complaining, why is he not? You can't expect someone else to feel the way you feel about something. It's just not normal. So
are you saying that women should look for it outside? So use your friends. That's what I'm asking. So how would you...
I think we just need to be content. Like, stop looking for answers to things in other people and just be happy with be happy in your own little bubble.
But surely this is your life partner. So I think that the emotional depth and the deeper connections obviously strengthens the relationship. And I feel like when things like that happen, when it's a sudden, death. I mean, I've shared deep things with, ex-boyfriends, and I just didn't move further in the relationships based on how they handled.
They reacted.
Because I mean, I remember sharing something so deep and literally he was mute. And I thought, when they walk, this is not going to work. You know what I mean? Because you need to be able to say the right thing at the right time sometimes.
I understand where you're coming from, but the question is, are you going to keep doing that until you think you find the person?
So you feel like men will always fall?
I don't feel men would always, but I feel we should stop expecting certain reactions from people.
And find
it doesn't mean he's not reacting, but he's not. If a man doesn't cry because you say something, doesn't mean he's cold. He just doesn't cry. Do you understand? So sometimes don't read too much into it and just take them for who they are. It doesn't mean...
Yeah, I agree. There's a saying that goes, what messes up the most is the picture in our head of how things are supposed to be. Sometimes just because someone doesn't necessarily react the way you want doesn't necessarily mean that they don't care.
Feel,
those two things, you almost know when someone doesn't care and when someone just doesn't know what to say. I think it's also wisdom to try to decipher what that actually is, what the difference is.
I think it's actually individual, like either females or males. There's some women that are more, they're stronger, they're able to take on a little bit more. They're able to, not necessarily wear their emotions on their face and still sort of, brave through things. And I think it's the same way for men. I've actually met men that are quite emotional. And super sensitive. So I think it's actually more...
I've met some.
I think it's actually more of a reflection of what you're looking for. If you're picking a life partner, what you're doing is that you spent time with them, so you know what's important to you. And you gave a very interesting example, I think. It's, you shared something deep with somebody and he was mute. And you were like, well, this is not going to work for me because I need somebody that is that is emotionally stronger and that I can share with and we can communicate. And I also think that there is something to be said about educating each other. A lot of times I think that we expect somebody to be a ready-made package. And it doesn't work like that. You're from completely different backgrounds, completely different experiences. There are some things that happen to people and change them, forever. And so it's about constantly talking about it. This is what I like. This is how I like to be treated. I would like for you to be emotionally there. This is how I receive it when you're mute. It's about communication.
I see it a different way because I understand that, okay, fine, you can't have everybody being a ready-made package, but I think that for me, it's important. There's some things that I know are just going to be instinctive. And I don't want to prompt you to be emotionally there. And I'm not saying all the time, but to me, that prompting just takes the support out of it because I have to prompt you to, you have to teach, but I think that if maybe you did it 80% of the time, let's even say 60, let me not be too, let's just say 60% of the time and there was a 40, I can balance the 40, but at the point where you are stoic and void of emotion, no.
I think that's a reflection of you. And
because that's what
I need. Like, there's ones I need an emotionally strong, stable, mature.
Definitely.
Go to the Build a Bear workshop and build your man.
Even you saying
that's what it sounds like.
I get what you're saying because even you saying you need that sort of man, I can bet you that you might get a guy that's emotional and all that, but he has to be emotional in a certain way that you like. Because the guys that you meet and they're just
I'm not talking about like wet emotions. I'm just saying that a guy that knows what to do, that just isn't frazzled and standing there and just what are we going to do? Well, just not getting it together.
The thing I find with men is the minute you now break him and you're like, but then he's walking out crying.
No, not that emotional tears kind of crying.
Because once the valve breaks, you can't put it back together. He's not walking out.
Okay, wait. So let's speaking of like holding it together, I want to move on to. I'm gonna move on to you, mompreneur. You have 3 kids, right?
3, yeah.
And you're managing being a wife, business, career woman, and a mother. How do you? And I know that you've lost your brother as well, which was sad for all of us. How do you hold the hustle through trauma? You sometimes they say like your brand is, your brand
just
affects.
Throw me under the bus.
Your brand is like the tone of my page when I'm going through things. Like you just know this girl is not in the mood. Like my social media just reflects my mood. So how do you kind of hold it? Do you allow yourself to be?
No, luckily I've learned how to separate my emotions from my mode of operation.
Right.
And I'm aware now that once you have a voice, you can't let people down. Do you understand?
Yeah.
There are days when I'm broken and I'm like, and it affects people and people are like, you know what? Today, I didn't know how I did it. But the thing is, time is a good healer as well. And, I can't keep going through the same emotion over and over again and letting it affect me, letting it dictate how my kids would not, they wouldn't let me.
They don't understand it. Yeah, they're just like, why is mommy sad?
No, the thing is, they actually understand it, but they would rip me apart if I tried to. Like, they're like, my son was reminding me the other day, he's like, oh, how's Uncle? How's he? Where is he now? They wouldn't let me even, like, why are you crying?
Yeah.
It's been a long time now, so even if I wanted to wallow in my sadness, like, I'm looking at my kids.
So you found happiness in your kids?
No, you know what? I found happiness in my kids and I realized my kids need me to be happy for them to function as well. my work requires me to, because I used to get up and just be angry with everyone sometimes. But then I realized that I couldn't function properly. I had to realize that I couldn't let my emotions just constantly dictate how my day was going to go. And I put it in a box, and I know how to take it out of that box, deal with it. But that's what it is. You can't just walk around, and I used to walk around and go to airports and be crying in the middle, and they're like, are you the only one that has suffered? You know?
Sometimes you can be so
literally, as we Africans, we're like the hardest on ourselves. So I just realized that really, am I the only one? So,
Okay, Aibee, I'm going to pass it on to you. You lost your dad at a young age, and it was a different time for you. How did you push through not knowing, this new life, how things were going to, because he was the breadwinner, you know what I mean? How things were going to be paid for, how you were going to literally live.
Yeah.
What kind of kept you through, that grieving period?
I think it's really interesting going through grief because a part of you feels bad that you have to let it go. You almost feel like you owe it to that person to hold on. And interestingly, for me, that was my biggest fear as a child, losing my dad, because he was just such a present figure and a safety net. So I feel like when you go through something like that, it's almost like you just have no choice but to just be like, okay, what next? I have to move on, right? Because that's your biggest fear.
Yeah.
And now you're in it, so you just have to face it. I needed to make sure that his legacy was retained.
Right.
What would he want from me? He wouldn't want me, he spent so much on my education and making sure that I have the best. I owe it to him and to myself, really.
To do well.
To do well. And so I just kind of lived. For a while, I was hard on myself because I was like, are you going to forget? You can't just forget,
So it was not the idea of not letting him down that kind of just kept you going.
I think it changed from, I don't want to forget, or are you going to forget him, to, okay, use that memory and make sure that you're something so that he's always proud. And it's interesting, when I have those profound moments in my career, or I've reached some kind of pinnacle of doing something, I remember him and I'm like, oh, I hope you're proud.
You play different roles, so you had to evoke different emotions for different characters that you've played. When you come out of that, the real Adesua, how do you turn it on and turn it off, in your relationships?
I have to be with someone, or I have to end up with someone that understands the nature of my job. I need you to give me time. If I come home a little moody, I need you to give me a bit of time because it takes a lot. Most people don't understand how much emotional work it takes to get into character, and then when you're done with work, to get out of character. You don't. If you're really into it, you really put your heart, body, and soul into it, and it takes a bit of time for you to come out of character. There's still characters that I've played that I really identify with till today.
So have you been in relationships where they're like, who is this? Is Adesua? Hello.
It's funny that you mentioned this because even just in terms of friendships and stuff, my manager, when I was shooting a movie called The Arbitration, my character was Dara had a potty mouth. She says exactly what she thinks. I don't know that she sets out to be rude, but she can be. My manager said I was a mess during that period, and I didn't even know.
Embodied
and
her
I didn't
fully,
even know, and that's the worst
were...
part. And I had to, I'm really sorry. I didn't even realize that was what it was. But I just go, I do my job and try to do it to the best of my ability, and I just try to get out of it because that's not who I really am, essentially or fundamentally.
So if you were to speak to men and sort of advise them how they could be better partners, more attentive to their wives' emotional needs, because we can have a general discussion, but if we were to go deep, there have been a lot of hurt and relationships that have been broken because of this emotional unavailability. As much as you say we can't expect it in a person, it hurts women. If you're not strong enough to get yourself, and maybe you don't have kids to make you happy, you need that one person to just feel like, okay, this person has my back. What would you say to men? Let's speak to the men now.
What works for me doesn't work for the rest of you. So I can't say you have to do this. But I wonder sometimes if the women are really emoting what it is they need. Are you saying clearly, this is what makes me work, this is what I need, this is what I require of you? Sometimes they're just skulking
It's just like Cornelia, who expects you to do it without prompting.
I
just don't want to prompt you, just be...
And you're wondering why he doesn't get it. Of course he's not going to get it. So the thing is, you be clear from the beginning, like you're saying. Marry someone who gets you.
Anyway, thank you guys for your wisdom and pearls of wisdom. We are going to move on to the next segment where I'll be interviewing these ladies about forging their path to happiness. We'll be back. Welcome back, guys. I'm going to start with you, my darling Aibee. How do you see yourself and your role in society? And how do you think that limits or propels you in your career, life, and relationship?
I believe, because of my religion, I'm a Christian, that I'm unique, that I was created for a purpose, that I'm supposed to impact. I'm not supposed to just exist. And that has sort of been integral to whatever it is I've done, generally. And I think that I'm also not necessarily, I wouldn't say that I've always been the safest person. I'm in entertainment. I've been in entertainment since I was 18. And the business of it, I knew that I wanted to be in the business of it. And I knew that I wanted to succeed because of what I'd had. My father was really good at what he did. And I come from a home of entrepreneurs. And so talking about business ideas, and we've always dreamed big. And because I was surrounded by that, and because of my foundation in Christianity, I think it just sort of propelled me. So generally, when I'm doing anything, that's the center of it.
Do you find it difficult not to be labeled by, not to believe your title, like not to identify with your titles?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. So I've never worked on titles. And interestingly, I sort of entered my position. It wasn't like they hired me for that role. It's because of what I was doing that they felt that I fit into it. Until today, I'm not one of those people that feels comfortable in it. Because I think that makes you feel like there's nothing to achieve or there's no next step.
So there's always an upper version.
So for me, it's always just like, it can be anyone else. Like you're in a good position now. Not necessarily that I have something to prove, but you just always need to add value. So it's more about making sure that you add value. If you don't add value, why do they need to keep you there? Why do you need to be in that position?
Have you suffered from imposter syndrome in chasing a life of your dreams? Like, so you're this big superstar.
So it's funny you ask me that, because I have to take on different people in the line of job that I've chosen. But what I would say is, when I first started off, you know, when you're starting off in an environment that you're not too sure of, you are slightly unsure of yourself. I wish I could sit down here and tell you, I knew what I wanted to do and I just went for it and it was great. And no, sometimes you second guess yourself. And one thing I had to tell myself was, Adesua, you are enough. My greatest power lies in the fact that I'm me and nobody else is like me. Which means nobody can give what I have to give. So I had to remember to, and I remind myself till now, I remind myself every single day, you are enough. Like, it's not about anybody else.
What did you transition from? What did you study?
Well, I studied the arts from 2004, but before then I was trying to go down the medicine route because of parents and stuff. But this is what I've always wanted to do. And from the age of 7, once I watched Coming to America, I knew I wanted to do this, you know. But it took a lot of time and it took a whole lot of courage to get into it and tell my parents, hey, hello, I want to act.
Did you have to fight through that? So outside of you not necessarily feeling it initially, did other people make you feel like...
Till today, there are always people that are never going to think that what you do is good enough. And you know what? I think that's fine. It's very okay. I keep telling people that the most important thing is what you think about yourself. It is. I cannot reiterate it enough. What you think about you is singularly the most important thing in the whole world. Like, it doesn't matter whether someone tells you you're good or you're bad. See, compliments and whatever the opposites, like, they don't matter. Now, what do you think about you? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? I recently posted something today. 100% of shots you don't take. 100% of shots you don't take. If you don't take it, if you don't take a shot, there's just no point. So for me, I have to remember to stay true to self and remind myself that I'm not here by chance. It's purpose.
But this is something that
purpose-filled life for me.
In the process of it, I think it's something that one has to remind themselves, because it's one of those, you know how they say, read your Bible, pray every day. It is literally true, because that thought would always come in, like, who do you think you're? I battled it.
I have conversations with myself. I tell myself, Susu, it's okay. You are in a
and especially in your line of work, when you get something big, like, you know how you get something big and you think, is this me? Or you know, can I actually handle it? You feel like a fraud.
I had this feeling yesterday, and my manager told me, she was like, you know what, you work hard, nothing lands on your lap. So I'm not sitting down here thinking, oh gosh, I came from the London, I'm yellow, hello. You have to go and you have to do the work. If you don't do the work speaks for itself. Once you do the work and you're doing great work and you're working really hard, the work speaks for yourself, and you find that your work goes before you. People tend to know you before they even meet you based on the things that you've done. So it's really imperative that when God puts you in a situation, that you have a spirit of excellence.
Yes.
Mediocrity is not an option.
It's not acceptable.
So yeah.
Oh, yes, girl, you better preach. Now, Franny, I'm going to come over to you and speak on just piggyback on what we were saying about other people not allowing you to be this new version of you.
Yeah.
So expectation versus reality, two very different things when you're going through the process.
Yeah.
And I think that friends play different roles in your life when you are trying to create different versions of you, because I don't even think you have to be a version of yourself. Like, you don't have to be one-dimensional. If you want to do three different things, then you can do three different things.
Yes.
What role have friends played, and have you dealt with like unsupported friends in you creating a new life for yourself?
I honestly would say I don't pay attention to stuff like that. Like, because when I make friends easy, by the way, so it's kind of hard. I don't pay attention to like, oh, is this friend going to approve of what I'm doing next to this? Because if you seek approval, you might get the opposite. And if, it depends on what you are, on how weak your resolve is. If you're not sure and you're seeking approval from someone, be prepared for them to just shut you down.
Yeah.
And what's your plan B? Do you understand? So I just find that I don't wait for someone to tell me who to be. And when you are transitioning or when you are evolving...
You're quite self-aware, aren't you? Like, everything is from self.
No, but you see, the thing is,
operate,
not to go back to the other issue, but I don't think I started living or becoming my true self up until, the tragedy 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think I discovered that there was more to me.
You didn't internalize as much.
Yeah, no, I did internalize, but it was just a bunch of random nonsense. But now it suddenly became, who am I? And what legacy do I want to leave behind? And that doesn't involve my friends. Why are my friends going to tell me who I want to be? I always knew I wanted to be this person, this foreign multi-millionaire.
But when they're your nearest and dearest, and they kind of just
really
still
doesn't matter.
small time you, doesn't it hurt?
Where would they see me to small time?
Okay, so you're not...
Hello, when they're climbing that ladder,
She's like levels.
down, now you keep looking up. No, because you know what? You would have the odd... she's a cap, yes, now. You would have the odd backbiting and, you don't know what reason
Whispers,
or where that person is coming from. I'm trying and, I did used to get the, but I'm the one that got this in school. Why? And I remember I have this vision board on my wall. My kids' achievements have covered up most of my visions, but, there's this quotes by, what's his name? Windows. Bill Gates. That says he failed in most of his in his classes in school, but he had friends who passed everything. Now they work for him. I'm like, that's my life. Keep your friends around and don't listen to what they have to say, because a person that is excelling in school doesn't mean that you are failing. Yeah. I know, and it's something I'm trying to teach my children. Don't come and say, oh, this person came first in class and I came last. People just want to constantly tell you who to be, and society just constantly dictates where are you, milestones, goals, all those things. Yes, you need them, but it's nobody's business.
Put it in your brain. And
yes, you see it everywhere. I mean, I do it as well because it's supposed to. 2017 is coming. Yeah. What are your goals? I really don't care for all those things, because the thing is, who I am today is not who I was last year. It's not who I was 4 years ago. So I don't beat myself up, and I'm not going to give someone the power to dictate who I'm about to be. So friendships don't. You'll have time for friends when you're sitting on your island.
I will say that.
Cocktails.
I will say that it is important for people to know that if you are a sensitive person and these friends mean a lot to you, they're friends that you've known since primary school. Some people hold on to years. Girl, you better let them go.
My husband says no new friends. I'm like, many new friends.
I like new friends. I don't really necessarily, follow that tagline, no new friends.
Exactly.
I get that. But I think that you must be able to let go, because there's so many sources I draw inspiration from, podcasts, reading, and I've been hearing a lot of things about, look, if you're not ready to pursue your goals with reckless abandon, and I mean reckless abandon, meaning recession, no recession, you are moving forward.
What recession?
Listen, what recession? You know what I mean? So friends have to enter that category of reckless. Bye.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it will hold you down, and you eventually will talk yourself out of it. You won't realize how you're believing what they're saying. What are you doing? Is it not you that? Is it, like they jeer, and those things to me can penetrate your spiritual mind.
But I actually think that it's also just, it goes down to purpose. And I think the older you get and the clearer your vision and your purpose is, it's not even like you're trying to be mean. I think you just find that your friends change.
Yes.
You-
They will
you're-
remove themselves.
And they should change.
Yeah,
I'm
like
sorry.
And
you're
they should, because you're
Seasons.
changing.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're changing.
Seasons,
Yeah.
you know,
And
the-
it's
the friends
fine.
they'll
And
say
it's not even bad. It's not even like
It's not
It's not
big.
like you fought.
beef.
so-
It's just
See, in all fairness, I know friends who were talking about schools earlier on. I know friends who went to schools and their clique is
Cliquish,
so bad
yes,
and their clique.
yes.
As in, listen, more power to you. I love it. I love, it's nice to hang with them. But I'm okay being with myself. I'm okay discovering what I'm about today. Because God knows I'm a myriad of different emotions.
Yeah.
So I want to take that time to say, you know what? The last time I hung with, I make so many new friends. In fact, my kids are like, make your own friends. My friends' moms don't have to be your friends. But it is so much fun discovering new people that, I went somewhere yesterday and my business called The Mustard Seed and someone said, oh, it's been however many years, when is it going to become a tree? It wasn't even
can't take
anything.
things like that, though.
No, but it wasn't even anything bad because you see, this is the thing. It wasn't, I'm sure I know she didn't mean it
that way,
bad.
yeah.
I saw the positivity in what she
was
said
saying.
because you have to, people are supposed to encourage your growth.
Right.
Not keep you like,
Bound.
like imagine you're
Yeah,
saying,
okay,
is
where
this
you are.
me?
Yeah.
And somebody's like, really, is this you? You better just cancel that.
Right.
You want to be thinking, gosh, your plans are supposed to scare you.
Yeah.
And when someone is like, so how far with that plan?
Right.
It wasn't meant negatively. And I took it for everything it was. I was like, you know what? I have been battling. Should I change? Should I move? Is it
Yeah.
wrong to stop
Right,
working with children?
right.
But that one word just told me, I'm ready.
Sometimes I agree with that because on the flip side, sometimes you have to take some of those things that are said to you, maybe whether it is an insecurity that makes you
Yes.
process it negatively,
Yes.
you have to be able to take some of those things and use it to pull the thing all the way. And one of the things for me that somebody said to me that really stuck in here was that nobody cares. Like nobody really cares. Nobody
What
cares
you're
about the
going
process.
through,
When
yeah.
Brad Pitt,
No one cares.
when you don't have a movie, when is your next movie coming out now?
When is your
Hey,
next
hey, no matter
child?
how many rejections you've gone through and what you're going, nobody cares.
Yeah.
When is it? When?
It's a
When is
constant,
it a tree?
it's a constant cycle of when,
Yes,
what's
it is,
next,
yes.
you are not enough, you're not doing it.
Yes.
So why give people that power?
Yeah, I'm going to come to you, Adesua. I'm going to ask you this particularly. What truths can you share in your line of, adventure that makes the valleys less painful and the peaks more fun?
Okay. One thing I would say is that you need to learn to live in the moment. I know that we always want to think about 5 years down the line, and that's great. It's great to have a plan. It's great to have purpose and have vision. But I think in doing that sometimes as well, we forget to appreciate where we are now. There is so much beauty in where you are in the now and at every single stage that you find yourself. There's so much beauty. And most times I don't see my valleys as valleys. I see them as maybe time of reflection. I take a step back. I clear my head. I write stuff down. I'm like, okay, what have I learned? What am I supposed to be doing? If I am not doing anything in that period and it seems like a lonely time or whatever, I believe it's there for a reason. I don't ever believe if God has put me there, I'm supposed to be doing something with this time.
So even the down times, there is
value
purpose for that.
and
And the
there is
downtime.
purpose
Yeah.
in downtime.
Even if it's clarity of mind.
Yes, definitely.
I agree.
So you need to just learn to live in the moment. Don't push stuff. Like I was talking to one of my little daughters and she was like, oh God, I'm not working. I need to find work. I was like, you're not working, that's fine.
Yeah.
Take this time that you're not working. What else would you like to do?
Yeah.
You have to find value wherever you find yourself, no matter whether you feel like you're up or you're down or whatever. And then when you find yourself at the peak and you feel like it's great, just remember that this isn't the highest height that you can attain.
There's
It's
always
great that
more,
you're
yeah.
here, but there's something else that you can do
always
as well.
more.
Don't get carried away. Don't get carried away with the noise.
Yep.
You have to be able to sieve and sift through information that comes your way, and you have to stay grounded. Otherwise, the quickest way is down from there. If you're not grounded, you have to stay grounded.
Vibes, what would you say about the process? And I want to give a quote that a lady that I follow on Instagram said. And where is it now? It says, the heaviest thing in life is to carry a sack full of decaying gold. So how do you handle the process, the weight of your goals? How do you kind of push through and not be caught up in the outcome?
I think a lot of it is that pressure that you put on yourself. I think pressure stifles you. I think and pressure is different from goals and vision, Pressure is it makes you stop looking there, and you're just like, I'm not.
Yeah.
As opposed to how do I? And I think that sometimes it also stems from understanding who you are and what you're actually supposed to be doing. Because there's some people that I feel just set goals that are not theirs. It's like, why do you have
we are in church
today?
Like, why is that your goal?
Yeah.
I don't even see it, right? So I think that we all have individual things in us that, I'm going to take it to church because you just said that. Your gift will make way for you.
Yeah.
I believe that very strongly. I believe that the strength of character that you have, your natural abilities, those things already hinting at what you're supposed to be doing. And when you get it, you get it. And I think then it's a lot easier when you're not like, okay, I'm just carrying and piling things on. It's now easier for you to draw like a roadmap. And obviously going back, praying about it, I believe strongly in that. Surrounding yourself with people that can propel you in that way. And it's really just...
Sorry to cut you off. That is so true.
It's really important.
What's that thing they say? You are the top 5 people. And girl, I had to look at my circle at some point. Like,
no, it's extremely, I think it's important. With anything, like when you're making a decision in life, you need to think, okay, who are the people that are going to weigh me down? And she may not be carrying decaying goals, she may be carrying decaying people. Really, right? So it's just about the way you look. So it's just about the way you. That's what I think. So
we can remix that to the heaviest thing in life is to carry a sack full of decaying people, because it's usually the people that aren't really going for anything in life that have the most to say.
I realized recently that let me speak in generally. We don't know how much negativity we surround ourselves with. So you grow up being told you can't. You go to school, you do certain things because. At one time, everyone was in IT. At one time, everyone was studying nursing. How many people are practicing what they study? You're a lawyer.
Yeah.
You wanted to study. I mean, God knows I'm like, why did I waste my years studying something
But I
that
actually
has
think
nothing
that
to do with
process
anything?
is... I actually think that's...
Yes, but then that's for those of you who can say you studied this and still in what you're doing. There are many people that end up staying in uni for 9, 10, 12 years and they now become layabouts. And then suddenly... they've decided to just cut themselves off of that and do their own thing. And they're thriving. But it's because you're allowing people to tell you who you should be, what you should do, and tell you what your process is. So sometimes it's not you. A lot of the time, people are piggybacking off of someone else's or someone else's success. They can do it, why can't I? But then also it's you allowing people to guide you as well. Oh, you know what? I had a dream and I thought, you dreamt. It's my own. So we fall victim to that a lot. And I think that a lot of the time it's us conditioning our minds to do better, not just other people affecting us. Stop letting people dictate who you are and who you should be. And you will, no matter what, even if God has said this is your plan, you can stumble, you can face delay or whatever. They're all tests. But the point is not to give up as well. This is who I'm going to be and this is who I'm determined I'm going to be.
Anyway, thank you ladies for joining me. It's been an interesting conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks to you guys for staying tuned. I will see you next week on Chit Chat Live.